Hey everyone, so I guess with this video I'll be talking more about college experience since most of you guys are starting college and most of you guys are getting ready to go into college. I guess I'll be just explaining my college experience. With my college experience, it definitely taught me to speak up a little bit more, and it definitely made me a stronger person and made me understand completely of certain things in my life and certain things around me. I know right now college is very expensive and some of you guys are paying college on your own. Some of you guys are still depending on your parents and for money, which is great. At least you have your parents to help you guys out, because it's very helpful since college is really expensive. Because how I basically did college and to pay it off is that since my parents, I basically, how I did it is that I basically used my parents and information to do with the taxes since I was still living with them. But the thing is, they didn't help me out with the textbooks. They didn't help me out with the parking situation. They didn't help me out with how to pay half of the tuition that was already given to me, because when it comes to college, there's going to be certain loans that you're going to need for that semester, and especially if you failed a class, you basically, if you look through your your loans, and depending on how your money situation is and what type of grants or grants, loans, and all of that stuff is given to you, grants definitely helped me out. That because when I did my financial aid, they understood that around my second year of college, I was financially cut off. So I had to figure out different ways with textbooks and how to pay back the loans that I borrowed, because with grants help me out a lot. And no, going through that experience, I was getting stressed out because with biology, it was only biology that screwed me over the most. And I basically took biology like 3 times because there was so much information and facts that you had to remember, and I was basically trying to finish in college as soon as possible so I could transfer to a different school. And it definitely helped me out with it definitely helped me to find better ways to find money and to find ways to basically get free money. So I went on different websites, I looked up everywhere, I asked everyone that I know, and every student that has been there forever has told me different techniques and different ways of saving up, especially if you're living on your own. It definitely helped me out to figure things out with money also, because how I did it was basically I sold things on Amazon. I sold other things and I sold textbooks to my school if they weren't being sold on Amazon as fast as I wanted it to be. I basically sold clothes for people. I basically made flyers. I basically made posters and went on social media, went on YouTube and everything just to promote my business of selling to everyone else. I also applied for different types of scholarships. The only thing I hated about applying for scholarships is doing essays. And for some of the essays, you basically had to, I remember I did a 5-page essay, but the most I ever did was probably a 15-page essay on why I wanted a scholarship, and had to back it up with so much evidence, back it up with so many resources from books, and stuff that links online, and trying my best to get people's references and quotes and everything just to make my essay look good. And I remember that day when I got to have the money I got the money in my bank account, and I was pretty shocked of how much I got. I was so happy. I basically paid off my loans from that, and I basically used that to pay off textbooks that I needed to use those semesters. And looking back at it, I did not have time for anything. The only thing I focused on was basically school, work, and trying to fit in a relationship. So I partied a lot during my first year and tried to fit it in around when I was like, yeah, I tried to fit it in when I was 18 and 19. I was very much a party girl because I didn't have as much fun as I wanted when I was younger. I didn't really get to explore much, and the sad part is I was born and raised in a city where I was stuck in my whole life, and I got to see parts of it when I was younger with field trips and everything, but I stayed in one city my whole life, and I never really got to explore much of it and got to memorize the roads and everything. So when I was driving on my own, I was basically lost in Chula Vista, and I remember that day I was like, I only had my tank half full, and I was just trying to get back to home, and I was getting so lost because everything looked the same. So I was getting confused with the roads, and also trying to memorize, because there's different parts of Otay Lakes and there's different parts of East Lake, and I'm like, it's not going in one road yet. So all of that basically opened my eyes to different people, and definitely made me open to different types of people in different cities and how they see the world in their own point of view. And it made me even appreciate what I have, and it made me want the people that worked to get to where they were. It made me want to work even harder to get to having a house of my own and having a little garage and having everything that I ever wanted. And because I remember when I was younger, I would watch MTV Cribs so much and wanting to have all of that stuff. And if that was my way of using my education to get to those type of places, if somehow I couldn't get lucky off of like being famous, or if I didn't get lucky enough to be a millionaire by just going into a top job position, then at least looking at it, I had my education to back me up and to get the job position to get me to somewhere around middle class area. And doing college and doing public speaking was the most terrifying thing ever. Public speaking was not my per se, and I was not planning to be a communications major. I was planning to be a music major originally, and when I did public speaking, I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. I'm just going to talk like probably 2 or 3 minutes. And having the teacher explain in the beginning of the semester, saying that you're going to talk at least 10 or 15 minutes in front of the class, and you have to do it in a certain way. You have to basically not follow index cards. You cannot read off of anything. You have to speak of whatever that's on your mind. And I'm like, really? I cannot do this. I freaked the hell out. The first speech I ever did was I basically read off everything. I was looking down at my index cards. I was a nervous wreck. But after that, it got easier because the very first speech, it was, you get to choose how you want to talk to in front of class, and they offered an acting part, which you have to choose a monologue from any movie that you wanted. And I decided Princess Diaries because with Princess Diaries, I remember at the end of the movie how the character was very shy and and she was just really shy and nervous the whole time. So it was like, okay, perfect. If I end up showing my nervousness, at least it's going to match with the acting scene. So And so with that, I got comfortable, and then that's when we had to talk. The next speech, we had to talk about ourselves and our goals and all of that stuff. And then after that, the next speech I talked about was the price of beauty, and talking about appearances and looks and everything. And like looking back at it, I was so embarrassed for emotionally crying in front of the classroom because because of the bad experiences that I went through with my weight issues and everything. And now looking back at it, I'm not really embarrassed that I did that, because it made me understand that there's actually people out there that went through the same thing that you did, and made you realize that you're not the only one that went through beauty problems and all that stuff. So, after that, the other class that I took was more of a arguing. It was more of argumentation and debate, and that was more of my strongest point, because even though the topics made me uncomfortable, because you have to switch sides on a topic, I was much more better at arguing with another person, because I didn't have to focus on the audience. Looking at the audience made me hella nervous. Having so many eyes looking at you, it just made me feel more awkward. Even though my teacher at that time told me you're supposed to make eye contact with everyone, but if you do feel nervous, look at the wall in front of you, but don't make it too obvious. So I'm like, how the hell are you supposed to do that? So that's why they basically recorded us in the classroom, just to see our mistakes and what we needed to improve on, because if we didn't improve on those certain things, our grade was going to mess up. And basically the thing that saved me from that class was my very last speech, and that was the speech that made me explain about mail order brides, and how mail order brides, of how women were basically being bought online and being sold to men that just wanted a housewife, and basically treated them as slaves. And if they didn't want them anymore, they would just either send them back or just like give them money for a little house in the country that they were originated from. And that speech definitely helped me out with the argumentation and debate class. It did. At first it made me uncomfortable, because the topics that was given was how to solve the problems in the Middle East, how do you get rid of the wars, how do you get rid of the poverty, how do you get rid of all of that. And the group that I was set up with, they said try to make it funny, but it made me feel uncomfortable talking about it, and it made me not, because I didn't want to sound like I was messed up. I didn't want to sound rude or disrespectful. And how they argued, they didn't really care. I was like, how are you guys so confident of saying this in front of the class? And like, especially when one of the students was Middle Eastern, and they basically, they were like quiet the whole time. I watched that person's facial expressions the whole time. I was like, are you gonna say anything? Like, so I don't know if it was like the same problems in my country, of like had to solve problems and saying, because what my backup statement was, you have to do to get rid of the problems over there is basically by genocide, kill everybody in that country and you'll have no more problems. And if it was my country, I'll be like, this is the most messed up speech I've ever heard, and they're talking about my country about that. So, of my race and my nationality. It's like, I know it was a joke at that time, and I know they were just fooling around, but and it's so funny because I was recently watching a show. I know it's something funny at my age. I'm watching Girl Meets World, but it's like the only Disney show I ever watch on there now, because I can't relate to any of these shows. And plus, because that show reminds me of my childhood of Boy Meets World, of how I used to watch it a lot. So watching watching one of the episodes about debates and how if you know your other opponents, knowing your other opponent's side of view, it will help you prepare of what you need to talk about to argue back at that topic. It definitely helped me to realize that I definitely needed to step it up, and I definitely need to not care what other people think, because and that has always been my problem. I always wanted people's approval. I'm very much of a perfectionist, and I'm trying to get rid of those bad habits. And I guess from debating all of that, and especially talking different points of view, it kind of helped me out a lot. At the same time, it did not help me whenever I got angry, because when I get angry, I don't mean the things I say. I just say it because I'm just angry at that point, and I just don't want to deal with it or the problem. I just want you to basically be quiet and just leave me alone and just drop the argument. So if you don't talk with me, if you don't drop the argument, I'm going to say a lot of messed up things that I don't really mean. Some of them, yeah, it may be truthful for the most part, but some of that, it's not like I'm trying to do it I'm trying to be a complete bitch or anything. It's just I'm just trying to make the argument stop. I just don't want to deal with it. I need my space. I need to clear my head. I needed to basically leave the scene for a bit. And college has definitely helped me out with that. Looking back at it, it helped me figure out what type of job positions I'm good at, because knowing your strengths and knowing what you're really good at, it helps you figure out, okay, what type of job career I'll be definitely good at, and what's going to be very easy for me to solve. And it's going to help me figure out, oh, if this job is going to be right for me after college, and if this job is going to make me happy. And I went after also going to I'm doing a lot of jobs. I'm basically applying for different jobs, and it made me face reality even more. College definitely warned me of what I was going to expect, and honestly, it just made me feel like that it was kind of hopeless. Like, why should I even try to be even a good person if everything else is going to be negative, and everything else is just going to screw you over? Someone's always trying to get at you. Someone's trying to get your job. Someone's trying to basically take your ideas and make them look good to the top person. And it definitely made me realize I guess I was just not ready to face too much of the reality. And I faced a little bit in high school, but I thought it was going to be completely different, and realized that life after high school was a lot more harsher than I thought. And I guess going through my experiences through high school and joining the activities and the elections that I ran for, it made me, I guess it just prepared me to what I was going to face. And hopefully people that's going through the same thing, facing the reality of what businesses and other corrupted things that's going on, and hopefully people will still be reminded that there's always something better that's going to happen, and it's going to take some time, and it's really frustrating right now that it's not going the way that you wanted, but it's definitely going to work out in the long run. But anyways, I guess that's all I can say about this video. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.